friends, it's Laura, and today I am sharing another December daily video with you. I've got my DIY Traveler's Notebook here. There's a video on how to make these on my channel, and today I'm going to be making the inserts for my Traveler's Notebook, and I'm going to show you how I do that. So I have already played around with some of my pattern papers and cut them down to size that they need to be to fit in my Traveler's Notebook, and kind of played around with what pattern papers I would like to see as my insert covers inside. And I'm kind of going with this nature theme here. I've got animals on this one, animals and branches on this one, branches on this one. It's a really pretty color palette and theme. And I actually want 4 inserts. I have 3 here, and this one's entirely done and put together here. I've got some pattern papers in it, and then also just some plain white paper in it. And this one I still have to add some papers to. And then this one I still have to add some more papers to. To make my 4th insert, the first thing I'm going to do is flip through all my pattern papers and see what paper would look the best with the inserts that I've already chosen to have and with my cover. So I think I really love this pattern paper the most, especially when I sandwich it like this. So it would be my 2nd insert. And then I would have a gold one, a green one, a pink one, and then another green one. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Traveler's Notebook that I already have. You could also use a ruler and just measure out the 4.5 by 8 3/4 or whatever your size Traveler's Notebook is. You can use a ruler to measure out those lines, but since I already have a made Traveler's Notebook on hand, I'm going to use that as my stencil to figure out where I need to cut. And because this is my cover and it has to fold around a lot of other pages inside of my Traveler's Notebook, I'm actually going to cut it to be a little bit wider than this Traveler's Notebook that I have. And now the next thing that I need to do is cut down the papers that go inside of my Traveler's Notebook. So here's what the Traveler's Notebook insert looks like. I've got the pretty patterned paper plaid cover here. It's got a wood grain in the middle. I've got a few pages of white 32-pound very soft paper. And then I have a sheet of vellum in here. And then I've got more computer paper, followed by some pretty patterned paper. And I can add more to the middle if I want to, or add more throughout, but for right now, this is a pretty good amount for me. And I don't like to make things too final because depending on the color of my photos for each day, I might want certain colored papers on certain days. So I don't want to commit to anything too final. This is just a rough draft to get me started. And that's what I've done with my other inserts that I've made so far as well. So I've got a little bit of computer paper, some different pattern papers inside, just enough to get me started, and I can always add more paper to each insert as we go on. And this one has some pattern paper and some plain white paper in it, and then also a smaller sheet of green vellum inside. So that's what that looks like. And then when I put everything all together, these are the 4 inserts that I now have, and they're going to go in my Traveler's Notebook in this order. And what I end up doing is I simply thread them through the elastic band like this. So this is my first insert. I'm not going to permanently bind them yet. I'm going to wait until they are all filled up with all of my photos and all of my memory keeping that I end up putting in that insert. And I really love the flexibility that this gives me, because if I want to add more pages throughout the week or the month, I can. If I want to change what pattern paper is by certain photos, I can. If I want to take some pages out because I've got too many bulky things in there, I can. And this really allows me a lot of freedom while working in a Traveler's Notebook. It also means that I can take a page out and work on it individually. So if I want to do mixed media or run it through my die cutting machine, I can. So it gives me the flexibility of a 6x8 album with the convenient size that I love in the Traveler's Notebook size. And then when I'm done filling up the notebook, I have 2 different ways that I can bind it, or that you can bind it if you're watching this tutorial. The first thing that you can do is use an awl or a needle and poke holes all up and down the spine here. And then you could use a needle and thread or a needle and embroidery floss and stitch up and down your spine all the way through, and that will permanently bind your insert. And then the other way you can do it is use a stapler and staple at the top, the middle, and the bottom of your insert all the way through, and that will also permanently bind your insert. But again, I don't do that to the very end when I have this all filled up. And I really love the freedom that that gives me to change things up throughout the month, and it makes this project really easy where I don't have to worry about anything like foundation pages not matching my photographs for the day. So I hope you enjoyed this look at how I make my Traveler's Notebook inserts for December daily. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you want to see all the fun December daily stuff that I am doing this month, and I hope you have an awesome December. Bye, friends!